Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Yahakarab coming at you with another one. But this one gonna be surrounded about the translations of Hebrews 3 and verse 6. But before I start, I would like to start off by saying, Kahaloim La Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Makakodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and to the rest of the brethren on down that's teaching and preaching this truth. Shalom Bayatha Dawada, and to the Akim and Akwaf that's out there listening and learning. To you, Shalom Mashpaka, Shalom. Now let's get into it. But I'm going to start off with a couple of scriptures first. Before I start, let me jump into, because our people got to repent. I would think that they would be glad to finally find out who they are and to repent. I would think that they would be glad to find out who they are and to learn what you're supposed to be doing instead of what you shouldn't be doing. I would think you would be glad to finally find out how you're supposed to carry yourself and how you're not supposed to carry yourself. The things you're supposed to be doing and not doing. I would think that you would be glad to find out that you actually have a heritage. You actually have a culture that you can grab a hold on and hold tightly to it. I would think you would be glad of that. But you think these stupid motherfuckers is glad? Nah, some of us is glad. We rejoicing greatly. But the rest of these motherfuckers, they walking around like they don't give a fuck. They don't even care. You just want to continue in the ways that you've been taught by these damn heathens. Wouldn't you want to throw that shit in the trash? Wouldn't you want to get rid of that old man or that old woman? And bring forth and show this new man or that new woman? But before I get into this, to read this translation in Hebrews 3 and 6, because it's a beautiful one. And there's a few other translations in it that just go sounds beautiful. So I want to go into that. But first, let me read these two. Man, they want to come out because it turns straight to it. Our people got to repent, man. You got to repent. Let's go into it. Just a couple before I start reading the translations. St. Luke 13. And I'm going to start at 2. And I'm going to read all the way to 5. I'm going to read it out. St. Luke 13 and 2. And Yahushua answering, said unto them, Suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans, because they suffer such things? I tell you, nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. Or those 18, upon whom the tower of Shalom fell, and slew them, think ye that they were sinners above all that dwelt in Jerusalem? I tell you, nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. So he's saying to our people, just go ahead and repent. Return back to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua so you can be saved. So you can be saved out of the hand of your enemies and all that hate you. So you can be saved from them. What's wrong with these people? Let's get one more before I get into it. Because if you don't repent, you're going to receive the judgment. And who is that judgment going to begin with? Let's get it. 1 Peter 4:17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? You're not going to appear. This judgment going to begin with the house of Yahweh. Now let's go into these translations with this Hebrews 3 and verse 6. Let's read that. Bear with me. Now we all know who the book of Hebrews is written to. All the scriptures is written to the Israelites, to the Hebrew Israelites. But before I start, I want to go to 2 Samuel first before I go into the translations. Let me go into 2 Samuel first. 2 Samuel 7. Let me see where I'm going to start at. Well, I started 10. Moreover, 2 Samuel 7 and 10. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people, Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel. I have caused thee to rest from all thy enemies. Also, Yahweh telleth thee that he will make thee an house. And when thy days, he talking to David, Malak Dawadah, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. That's talking about Mashiach Yahushua. I'm going to read it again before I go back to Hebrews. He shall build an house for my name. I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. You can go back and continue reading yourself. Now I'm going to jump to Hebrews 3. And let's read up. Start at 4. 6 is the point before I get reading the translations. Hebrews 3 and 4. For every house is builded by some man, but he that buildeth all things is power. And Moses verily was faithful in all his house as a servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after. But Mashiach as the son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end? Now, who is the house of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua? Who is it written to? The Hebrew Israelites. Now, let's go into these translations. Bear with me. Let's read them. The KJV. Hebrews 3 and 6. But Mashiach a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end? In KJV, but Yahushua means Slakia, but Mashiach as a son over his own house, whose house we are, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing
of the hope firm until the end. NLT. But Mashiach, as the Son, is in charge of Yahweh's entire house, as we are Yahweh's house, if we keep our courage and remain confident in our hope in Mashiach. ASV translation. But Mashiach as a son over his house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the boldness and the glorying of our hope firm unto the end. DBY translation. But Mashiach, a son over his house, whose house are we, if we indeed we hold fast the boldness and the boast of hope firm to the end. HNV translation. But Mashiach is faithful as a son over his house, whose house we are, if we hold fast our confidence in the glorying of our hope firm to the end. RSV translation. But Mashiach was faithful over Yahweh's house as a son, and we are his house if we hold fast our confidence and pride in our hope. WEB translation. But Mashiach, as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm to the end. YLT translation. And Mashiach, as a son over his house, whose house are we, if the boldness and the rejoicing of the hope unto the end we hold fast. NIV translation. But Mashiach is faithful as the son over Yahweh's house, and we are his house, if indeed we hold firmly to our confidence and the hope in which we glory. ESV translation. But Mashiach is faithful over Yahweh's house as a son, and we are his house, if indeed we hold fast our confidence and our boasting in our hope. CSB translation. But Mashiach was faithful as a son over his household, and we are that household if we hold on to our confidence and the hope in which we boast. NET translation. But Mashiach is faithful as a son over Yahweh's house. We are of his house, if in fact we hold firmly to our confidence and the hope we take pride in. BBE translation. But Mashiach as a son over his house, whose house are we, if we keep our hearts fixed in the glad and certain hope till the end. NASB 20 translation. But Mashiach was faithful as a son over his house, whose house we are, if we hold firm to our confidence and the boast of our hope. Last one. NASB 95 translation. But Mashiach was faithful as a son over his house, whose house we are, if we hold fast our confidence and the boast of our hope firm unto the end. So bottom line, who is the house of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua? Who is it written to? Hebrews, the Hebrew Israelites. They are the house of Yahweh. Shalom, Yasharallah.